Brought to you by Penguin.
A Travel Guide to the Middle Ages by Anthony Bale. Read by Esh Alladi. Preface. In studying the history and culture of medieval travel, I've spent many years wandering in the company of travellers from the past, people moving through a seemingly different world. Through the travel guides and reports of medieval people, I've been able to follow the practicalities, the pleasures, and the perils of going on a journey back then. I've sat in hushed libraries in monasteries and palaces, from Oxford to Istanbul, reading in medieval manuscripts about travellers' journeys. And I have packed my bags and followed medieval travellers' itineraries through the streets and churches of Rome and Jerusalem. I've been soaked in the rain of Aachen and Ulm and got lost at night in Beijing. I've struggled with food poisoning, sweated with heat exhaustion, panicked over a tick bite, and laboured with coronavirus in places I barely know. I felt abandoned and despondent as I missed the last boat of an atoll in the Maldives. I've paid fees and surcharges, arrived at ports during strikes, had countless plans changed at the last minute, and had to buy various permits, documents, and certificates to travel. In this book, I take medieval travel guides and travellers' reports as my sources. The reader will encounter a wide range of medieval travellers who step in and out of the following pages. Like the people we meet when travelling, they may make an impression but not stick around for long. In what follows, I evoke the world as medieval people thought about it, conjuring locales that were frequently written about but not always visited. The travellers we meet may not always be sympathetic to our tastes, but that is often true of those we encounter when we are on the road. In the European Christian imagination, the notion of travelling the world was fundamental. We see this reflected in the Mappae Mundi, world maps made in cathedral cloisters, in pilgrimages to saints' shrines, in the idea of the soul's pursuit of the earthly and heavenly Jerusalems, and in the turning of early globes. To travel is to expose oneself to new knowledge, and yet travel makes sovereign the traveller's perspective. We often long for travel and far-off lands when we are at home, and it's at home that the pleasures and rewards of travel seem most apparent. Travel is endlessly seductive, but the reality can rarely live up to the stories we tell about places. Writing about travel in the Middle Ages crosses genres: autobiography, nature writing, encyclopediasm, confession, history, diary, ethnography, and more. These works also often have a dose of self-regard and contain misunderstandings, including fantastical creatures, ants as big as dogs, women with gems for eyes, griffins, half eagle, half lion, strong enough to carry off a horse, and places, the fountain of youth, the island of the Amazons, even the earthly paradise itself, that were heard about, but were never seen or visited. To travel in the Middle Ages was to move between truth and fiction. Besides these elements, travelogues are necessarily highly subjective, partly because travel often involves encounters with the unprecedented, and partly because authors come with all the errors and negative portrayals of others bequeathed by their cultural and individual assumptions. Travel, as a cultural phenomenon, is imbued with much more than movement through space. The term wayfarer could encompass anyone on the move: a traveller, a vagrant, a transient person, or a pilgrim. Forced migration, expulsion from a town or country, being told to go on a journey for an employer, conscripted into a distant battle, such things are movement or mobility, not travel. Travelling usually engages a sense of place and involves a purposeful or chosen trip, an encounter with difference that is willed, mobility that is voluntary or considered. To travel is to make a journey from which one plans or hopes to return home, to choose to uproot oneself temporarily from one's own world, to desire some kind of knowledge from the journey. The Codex Calixtinus, circa 1138-45, is one of the earliest identifiable travel guides, an anthology of advice for pilgrims to Santiago de Compostela, which relics the pilgrim should visit, where they will find fresh water, how to avoid wasps and horseflies, how to pray.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?